Okay, you hear a lot of talk about the AI glitch and the Terminator virus and people being replaced by machines. Let's put this into perspective and tell you exactly what it is, exactly how it works, exactly how it's going to work or happen. Okay? If you are worried about robots taking your job, you have to stop complaining about money. You have to stop complaining. Robots don't complain. Alright, now I'm going to run you the list of what they're going to check off. The reason that they pick a robot over you. You have to do your best, or we have to do our best, to adjust that list, or to make that list false as much as we can if you don't want to be replaced by a robot. Okay? Let's take an occupation. Because none of this stuff is perfect, and none of the systems or organizations have their task down like they're trying to give you the impression, we got this. Toss me, give me one, we got this. No. They're trying to develop methods of dealing with the task before them while giving you the impression we deal with the tasks that you can't. And on and on. So let's take an innocent one so I won't get accused of treason or homeland terrorism or any other thing that, see, even in the government, we got lots and lots of crazy people with lots and lots of issues. And you should not give a crazy, insane person a gun. I don't have to tell you why. So let's go innocent. Let's take the Postal Service. A robot does not deliver mail to the wrong address. A robot doesn't get tired of walking. A robot doesn't need overtime for the night shift, where the mail can go 24 hours a day. A robot doesn't get tired. It doesn't get hungry. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't need sick days. It doesn't need a vacation. And it costs less now. See, before, the only thing that saved your job was it was cheaper to hire a human than to run a robot because of the price of electricity and power and how much power the robot needed and the weakness of our batteries. We didn't have good enough batteries to have robots because they would have to be charged too often, and there was no systems set up for charging them. The plug in your house won't do. All right? Something in between the plug that your washing machine is plugged up to or something like that and the plugs that are in your house. So it's going to be needed. A whole different connection like the USB. All right? And got to come up with a universal one. So, robots are going to start replacing people because they don't make mistakes. And they're more efficient. Like in the Postal Service, the guy in the truck is only there in case the robot tips over, vandals try to attack it. It needs some type of maintenance. Like so far. And in the future, when those problems have been licked, the guy won't even be in the truck. The truck drives itself. The robot gets out the truck. The robot brings you your snail mail while it still exists. Because mail is trying to be all digitized, where your mail comes to your phone or device. The word phone is going to be lost too, like a lot of things, like Technicolor. It's going to fall to the back, to the past. It won't be called a phone anymore because it's much more than that. Okay? It's an all-in-one portable device. It's not a phone. It's a portable computer. It's a handheld computer and handheld game system and camera, microphone. It's a all-in-one device. It's not a phone. You're still living and you're falling behind the times. Or I could see if you were dead and gone, or you were hecka old, but even the children are calling it a phone. That means that they're going to get laughed at by their kids. So, technology is coming. It is supposed to make life better. Everything has two sides. Whatever you buy that is autonomous or what you call automatic or auto, make sure you have money to buy a manual one. If you buy an electric can opener, get you a handheld can opener. Because when the power goes off and everything in the refrigerator spoils, you can't open the canned goods without your electric can opener. Do you understand? You'll starve. Want a motorcycle? Bought a motorcycle? Buy a new bike. You get the principle? It's okay to have power tools. You better have a toolbox with a real screwdriver and a real wrench, a real hammer. Because I'm telling you, power isn't promised. Remember that. Because you will probably hear it a lot after this. But it's that sentence is probably nowhere until this note spreads. Power isn't promised. Buying anything that needs power is a gamble. Not just power outages, disasters, solar flares, and things that you have not even been told about. Okay? You know you experience power problems. They never tell you exactly what happened. And one of the things they don't mention is that the sun could be doing something to affect your power. Now, think about it. And the move to solar. Sun flare, solar power. Eclipse, solar power. Now, let me give you a little bit more clue. Because I heard Trump say something about chemtrails. And he called it a money-making scheme. He checked it out. He's the president. And he checked it out. He said he don't see no solid scientific proof of this global warming. None of this stuff. It's all a money-making scheme. All right? He didn't tell you what money-making scheme it was. Me being next up, it's on me. Power companies have ruled like gods, unchallenged, for I don't know how long. Because solar was rare and difficult, and batteries, just even the solar batteries could not collect enough energy to run your house or anything substantial in your house. No one wanted it because you still needed electricity, even if you had it. Okay? Now, with it as it advances, because of battery, I keep looking for that word, and every time I miss it, improvement, the improvements in the field of batteries. Solar is the first threat to come along to this power elite. You don't even know where your power come from. The magical electricity people. You understand what I'm saying? You just see it coming through the wire. But I'm telling you, 8 out of 10 people cannot tell you where electricity comes from. And those other 2 can't see past the dam. Now, so solar and gas. See, gas was threatened by electricity and pulled these same things. Didn't want everybody to move the total. Gas is spending money so that you do not convert to electric vehicles and electric stoves and electric hot water heaters. And gas doesn't want you to stop using gas. They're gods on this planet, the oil people. If people stop using oil, they're nobodies. So it's worth it to them to spend some of this big money blocking everything else. Okay? There are cars. The automobile industry pay inventors not to put out on the street. And likewise, here goes the dirty tricks. They get us in the crossfire. The chemtrails, those things that they go by like a streak over your head and looks like skywriting from back when you were younger, so you confuse it with the same thing that they skywrite with. It just hangs there in the air. And if you watch it, it'll get wider and wider and turn into a group of little clouds. And them group of little clouds keep multiplying right in front of your eyes. And then they turn black. And the water that they sucked out of you, the air, and the streams in your town comes raining back down. And they'll tell you, oh, we needed rain. Okay? It's terraforming. We needed rain. Global warming. We needed to cool the planet down. No. Power elites are... No, you cannot use solar on a cloudy day. So your big investment in solar goes bunkum when the weather's bad. And they want you to feel like that. Nah, I better keep my electricity. Because the solar, hey, what if it's cloudy? See what I'm saying? So produce a larger amount of clouds, black out the sky, black out the sun, to keep our money going. We're going to block out the sun from everybody. Deprive them of vitamin E and nutrients and everything, and threaten the trees even to keep the dead tree paper in our pocket. We're not evil. We're insane. We're too stupid to be evil. Even an evil person is not going to kill them damn self. Okay? So, that's what the chemtrails and stuff is about. The battle, a power battle between solar and the other forms of electricity and the other forms of power. So the gas, the electricity, and the solar people are at war. And the reason they can't fight the solar people is it has no head. It's a bunch of little tiny companies and little tiny people with franchises and little tiny... There's no big head to chop off. They've never had to fight anyone. They've never been in a ring. First time a power company got in the ring was the challenge of gas. And gas was already there. It came in, not gassed out in minutes. Gas hung on because of what I'm telling you about cloudy skies. Gas was able to cause power shortages where you say, oh no, I'm going to keep my gas stove. Because even when the power goes out, I can still cook and I still got hot water. If I switch all the way to electric and the power goes out, I'm tore up. So gas was able to stay in there by the same means that electricity is using on solar. By causing blackouts in electricity. You want to keep that gas. Oh, gas was here before the electricity actually. Let me tell you who gas knocked out to get in the game. It knocked out the fireplace, people. Fireplace and wooden burning stoves was the source of heat everywhere before oil came along, found a way. Oil lamps, oil stoves, on and on. Fire was it. Gas took out fire, took out wood fire, and made gas fire. Electricity took out gas, took gas out for the belt, and now solar threatens to take electricity out because they got greedy. They started raising their prices beyond what anyone can pay, like nature was charging them for the waterfall more. What cost us, this waterfall is charging us more now, so we're going to have to raise our rates. See how crazy it is? How crazy it is to con a sane person when you look at it? Only a fool is going to accept that. Really. This waterfall turning the carbines, turning these things is costing you more now. Hundreds of thousands of years. The water is free. That they're charging you for all this electricity, the water is free. And the equipment that they are using is paid for. Million times over. So if the water is free and the equipment is paid for, what are their costs? What are they charging you for? Electricity? They're the electricity people. See, everyone else major cost for giving you the prices they give you is, hey, I gotta pay bills. I gotta pay light bills. I gotta pay electric bills. So they pass that cost on to you. What excuse does the power company give you? What, they gotta pay the light bill? The water's free. The equipment was paid for before you were born. The first equipment paid for all new versions and creations and updates for the next 1,000 years. They're greedy. And it's all about money. This quest for money greed makes you end up with nothing. That two in the bush, you end up trying to grab them both and end up getting neither one. So that you got one bird in your hand, but you see two birds in the bush. You're going to let your one sure bird go to gamble that you can get these two. You're going to end up with no money from greed. Like the power people. Raised their prices so high, people had to find an alternative. This alternative threatens to put them out of business. Because the sun is free, just like your water. So let me think. You done jumped up to where my minimum bill is $500 a month. Free, $500. Spend 4 months bills on a solar system, and then I get free power from then on. I think I'd rather pay for 4 months than the rest of my life. And it's going like that. So now we block out the sky. So you can't get this solar power or make this choice. This fight over money, it's going to lead to what is free and what is the cheapest. What is that? That is an automated world. An automated world using solar power or some other source of free, renewable energy, an eternal source of energy. See, there are other sources of energy. They're just weenies and don't know how to approach it without getting beat up. There's volcanoes. No, I don't think I'll make the list because all these are fields and businesses in which I'm definitely in there. Even this that I'm mentioning. I'm not even in fear of anyone dominating the solar business, because the whole deal is to come up with that winner, that solar system that runs everything for free. Even on a dim day, the batteries are so stored up, sun could not shine for 2 weeks and you still have power. That's the system everyone's racing to create. Okay? The solar powered car, and on and on. You got it. Okay? Solar powered tools, solar powered machines and robots, solar powered lawnmowers and farm equipment. As you hear in the background, that's just a weed eater. You know how noisy it is and irritating? 20 people on a block all decide that on this day we'll do gardening. 20 weed eaters at the same time is noise pollution on a max level. Electric equipment is more quieter. You want to see how you beat someone out? That's what's going to happen to gasoline. The noise factor and the noise pollution revolution in California to avoid fracturing due to vibration and noise. Okay? It's like irritating, raggedy. It's like a person who can't dance or play music. See, noise is the opposite of music. Music is soothing, enjoyable, pleasurable. Sounds that aren't doing that are noise. They're irritating, unpleasant, nerve-wracking. So, the gardener who comes up with the new quiet tools and the gardener with the noisy tools, the new gardener wins. And this guy's been doing it 80 years. Since he was a kid, he's been cutting grass. And now he's out of business. All because he invested all his money in gasoline power tools. Now, you're going to have to bear with the noise. Let's go back to this. Your quest for money is going to have you unemployed. Either way you look at it. If you tell your boss you need more money because prices have went up and they're high and you can't afford to live, and he gives you more money, he has to charge more money to his customers. Now his customers need more money. They must ask their boss for more money, which is what happened to you. And now their bosses raise prices. Now you have to pay more to all of their bosses because you wanted a raise. And it chain reacts like that all the way up to the top of management and government. When one person raises their prices, it raises the prices of everyone in the nation. Do you understand that? It's all connected. If you kill one little insect, those insects that live off that insect die, and those who live off them die, and on till it gets up to the animals who lived off of them die, and the animals who lived off those animals die. Okay? That's what that's about. Okay? I know what's intentional. Karma takes care of me like it's my mother. I don't even fear anyone no more because I sit there and watch them thumbing their nose at me. Then I see them get their nose smashed in by a steering wheel in a car wreck. Don't feel any sympathy for them. Don't wish it on them. Didn't wish it on them. But ain't mad that it happened. That's messed up. So, prices. Like I explained about the corner store glitch. Foreigners came into the marketplace. There was a foreign entity in place, bought 7-Eleven stores, which was a good investment. 7-Eleven was the highest store in America. It had the highest prices in America. It justified it because you could go to 7-Eleven at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't go to your local market. I can charge you more because you have nowhere else to go. It's what you call highway robbery. It's how 7-Eleven did it. Now, foreigners not knowing the difference, okay, came over here to repeat the same process when their friends go home bragging. So they decided to buy stores, quickie marts, corner stores, okay? Their friend told them what they were charging and what they could get. And they raised these mom and pop store prices up to 7-Eleven prices. Everybody was screaming bloody murder. Supermarkets were back in demand because they were cheaper than the stores in the neighborhood. See, what kills supermarket is I only need a loaf of bread. I only need a can of this. I can get that at the corner. They're almost the same as the supermarket. But when it became twice as much as the supermarket, I might as well spend the gas and the energy or even walk. I'd rather catch the bus and grocery shop than shop at that corner store because we're starving. No money and no food. Trying to eat there. Well, they drained the neighborhoods of their cash by charging them more than they could afford to live. They raised the cost of living above their head. So they were suffering. They became desperate for money. Crime increases when you do that because people have to eat. Drugs, and when they're miserable and suffering, drug use increases, which means drug dealership increases and the drug business increases during hard times. Alcoholism is on the rise, and on and on and on. No one's tracing this to the corner stores. So I pinpointed the problem and pointed it out. Now they can cry bloody murder, but you've already murdered the community. Drop your prices to a decent profit, not how much you can charge because they can't go nowhere else because they don't have a car, or gas prices are so high they don't want to drive their car. I think this guy with this weed eater is just being irritated now. We'll know if the strap, if I see him with stripes someday from a weed eater that whacked his butt, I know he was doing wrong. I always see it. See him walking along on crutches, a cripple. Won't feel nothing. So, if you ask for more money, it will have the same effect as these stores. They're not the only one who did it, but that's what destroyed the community. That's what made you feel you needed more money. You had to eat. When grocery stores went up. Do you understand? Show you another thing. People are covered by insurance, but they want to charge you too. A farmer has a bad crop. That crop is insured, but he uses that bad crop as an excuse to charge sky-high prices. When crops were bad this year, we're going to have to charge more for our oranges. Lie. You were insured and covered. And you're going to double charge? That's greed. And so now he's charging more. Now the store has to charge more. And because these little crooked corner stores aren't going to legitimate distributors, they're going to your local dollar store, your local grocery store, buying from them, and then jacking the prices up and bringing them back to your neighborhood and charging you. Buy something for 99 cents and charge you $3.99, $4.99. Buy something for $2 at a grocery store and charge you $5. This isn't conjecture. This isn't what I believe. This isn't my opinion. This is what my research revealed. These are facts. They destroyed the communities, put them in poverty. Number one cause of inflation are these little neighborhood stores. Next came, and all this is foreign influence. Next, they went to take over the used car industry. Okay? And decided that they want to do the same thing that new car people are doing. Sell you a car in a manner they know you can't keep so they can repo it. And then people just got smart with the new car people and just start leasing the car instead of trying to buy it. And you come snatch it back from me. When my lease is up, hey, you can have the car back. It's not my car. Next year I'll get a new one. Well, that doesn't work for automobiles. Okay? People being greedy is making us all broke. You rather be a greedy broke person or a decent person with the head above water. You can't do it for yourself without allowing everyone else a chance to do it. You can't charge them sky high prices and you get the bargain deals. It's not going to work like that. It's a circle. Every time you try to charge more, you're going to see prices go up and you're going to swear it has nothing to do with you. But I'm telling you it does. Every drop of water on this planet comes from the ocean and tries to find its way back to the ocean. It becomes drinkable because of a stripping process that it has to go through in its travels. That's the same ocean sea water, stripped of the salt and vital nutrients. This spring water you buying that they're telling you is better than faucet water, is stripped of things that you needed from water. And no one ever told you what water was and what it was supposed to do for you. They give you some general thing about water makes blood, give blood. Man, all fluids everywhere have water content. Okay, so if you want to be replaced by a machine, start replacing everybody else by buying machines instead of paying them. You start replacing human beings with machines in your life and it will get around to you. Your machines are useful. They're labor savers. It's just you have to have a balance. Okay? Always keep manual in place. Do not replace manual with automatic. In case of disaster, we're doomed. We can't get the door open. How many times have you seen that scenario in a movie? Okay? Your electronically locked door in your car with no keyhole. Now you can't get in because something interfering with electricity. And your little remotes aren't working. It sure would feel good right then to be able to stick that key in that lock and get in and get out of here. So, let your husband have that old hoopty project truck or whatever he's working on. Don't stress him about the minivan and SUV and treasure room. Because in the end, it's probably going to be that old beat up truck that saves your butt. And it doesn't have to be beat up, but the work vehicle. Okay? You have this main luxury car or whatever, but necessity has made you buy the right car, the hybrid, where you can get the help on one tank of gas. You're going to leave that Cadillac sitting in the driveway if it goes down, believe me. The Lincoln will be left. So, Priuses, the cheapest little cars, become the most valuable cars in the future. Value systems change. They wrap around full circles. The mall killed shops in downtown areas, and then Walmart killed the malls. It will go full circle. And you're going to rather have personal service and know the guy behind the counter. Okay? So when we calm it down, don't mess it up individually. When we get things down to where you're comfortable again, don't get greedy. Because it'll start the same chain reaction all over again. You understand? $30 for a piece of bread, some cheese, and some paper thin pepperonis is too much. There's no way a piece of bread and some cheese and some thin pepperonis that don't even come up to an ounce is worth $30. I don't care what kind of labor you put into it, and I don't see a lot of how much labor is in the sprinkle process. It's not like they're grand chefs or anything charging you for their skills. It's that the wheat people went to charging outrageous things for wheat, and the tomato people went to charging outrageous prices for tomatoes, and the dairy people went to charging outrageous prices for cheese, and it made the pizza come out to be $30. See how it works? So, it's a karma thing. It's a circular. Everything's circular. I promise you. If you throw trash down on the ground in your yard, you will end up in a trash neighborhood. I'm telling you. If you are a person that keeps to themselves and does not socialize with your neighbor, you will find yourself living in a neighborhood that does not socialize and no one really knows anyone. And they're all bored to death. Okay? Everything works like that. It starts with the person in the mirror in your world. Your world revolves around you. Any action you take, not just anything you say, can be held against you. It will all come back to you. It's like they keep telling you, but you rather believe in these fairy tale tooth fairies and Easter bunny religions than to know things that are proven facts. I'm gonna tell you, the thing they call karma is realer than all those other little make-believe things I tell you. You might can't explain it, but what you put out there comes back to you like a boomerang. You cannot be a thief and not get robbed. It's going to happen. You cannot be a con and not get tricked. And then you're sitting there talking about, why is this happening to me? Think back. Think back to when you did it to someone. And you have your answer. It's not just happening to you because you're Job. Everybody throws that lame excuse out. You didn't do nothing. Those contractions show that you really did know that what you did. Guilty people use contractions. People who are really trying to express themselves, they stretch the sentence out. People who are trying to downplay it, shorten the sentences. Another tip on who's lying and who's not and how to tell. So they didn't cause inflation, we caused it. As always. They didn't cause pollution, we caused it. They're not destroying the world, we are. They're not killing everybody, we are. We have to stop. Because it's like those movies where the person didn't know who they was, like the robot guy in Terminator really thought he was a human. The same way with you. Complaints come from greed. No secretaries, no workers, no forklifts, no truck drivers, no counter people, no clerks, robots. No cab drivers, no bus drivers, no pizza people, nobody working in the restaurant, no one nowhere. Just slots in which your stuff comes out. As I was saying, greed comes from complaint comes from greed. Dissatisfaction with what you have. You want to lose your job? Let me tell you a true story. And for everyone that's unemployed, you're unemployed because you want to be. I'm getting ready to give you the scientific facts. Here is a proven, foolproof way of getting a job. Works every time. You pick what you want to do and where you want to work at. Go to them. Put in an application. They may stop you right there and say, hey, we're not hiring. And you say, well, can you give me an application anyway? It's the law. They're going to be a little bit irritated, so they're going to remember you. Okay? Try to put it at the bottom of the stack. People do that. They try to use their job to play games. Every occupation has jobs and games and tricks tied to it, such as the girl in the counter who sees you in a hurry and then slows down and starts doing everything but ringing up things just to irritate you. They all have these things. All right, the bus driver that throws you across the room just before you can get seated. They all have these things. After you fill out the application and they put you on the bottom of the pile where they'll never see it, as soon as you get home, call down there and ask who's in charge of personnel and speak to them, who does the hiring and firing. Call them and say, hey, I put in an application. Have you seen it? They're going to shuffle through that pile and find your application. And because they're halfway lazy, they're not going to put it back on the bottom. They're going to toss it on top. Then they'll give you the song and dance about we're not hiring right now, but I have your application right here, and they have to have it right there in order to be reading the facts and stuff on it to you, okay? And then they have to give it a look, 'cause that's their job. But they're probably in there on Facebook or something, okay? During business hours. Because they're not hiring now. What this personnel do during a non-hiring time. They're not interviewing anyone, screening anyone. Sitting, going on a power trip like the Nazis or Gestapo. I can fire you, you know that, right? So you should fear me more than the boss, because I can have you out of here. That kind of thing. Alright, but skip all that. You're on the top of the pile. Now your name is in their heads. Your face is at the front desk. The next day you come back in. And you say, hey, are you guys hiring? They say, weren't you in here yesterday? Yeah. Somebody could have quit last night. I have to check. Well, I don't think anyone, couldn't I talk to the person in personnel because they would know if someone got fired or someone quit this morning, you wouldn't know right here. They could have quit 20 minutes ago. And you tell them that. And the personnel person, now you get to meet them. Now they know your face. They know your name. Secret to where this is going is people are comfortable with who they're comfortable with, and they're comfortable with who they are familiar with. Now, you may be an irritation at first part of this plan, but you will end up being a familiar face. If you keep calling every day, when they answer the phone, they're going to call you by name and say, no, we're not hiring today, son. How you doing? And you ask them how they doing. And they get to knowing you. And all the tricks applies. They begin to tell you their personal business. Like you work there. You're there enough. You come through there enough. They know you like the people that work here. When it comes time to hire, here's what you start when you step up your game. You start calling and saying, hey, look, you got people down there calling in sick, people falling asleep, acting like they don't want to work and they don't like their job. I want to work. I know there's a place for me there. Every day someone calls in like they don't appreciate their job. Please quit threatening them and fire them. I will give 100%. They're going to say, you know what? I believe you. Let me look again and I'm going to call you. I guarantee you at the end of this process, you're going to get the job. You're not only going to get the job, they're going to like you more than the other people in which they don't even know as well as you. They just work here. Okay? We call them by their last name. We call you by your first name. See the difference? But you just took someone's job. That's how easy it is for your job to be taken. Calling in sick, coming in late. All the time you're there, you're complaining about things. You seem to have a problem with other people. You don't work well with others is a big thing to employers. You better be his star worker to pull that number. That guaranteed method I just gave you for getting a job is a guaranteed method for taking someone's job. Okay? Same way in a relationship. You can take someone's husband or wife using the same method. Okay? Knowing the situation. Here's the scenario. Just like people calling in to work. Not attentive enough. Take the man and the woman. He's going to treat her like she's stupid. He's not going to listen to her when she's talking and keep on watching television like she didn't say nothing, or use the time that she's talking to think about what he's going to say when she finished. And he's always going to keep putting her down. You can come take his wife by building her up, talking to her, listening to her, and telling her she's not an idiot. She will choose you over him any day. Sounds simple, man. You should see the women who want to be in my life. Okay, now. So, you can be replaced. Don't do a good job. Keep complaining. Never be satisfied. Want more. And be the classic U.S. worker. Wanting to brag about how much money you make and that you don't really do crap. Be the average U.S. worker. Stuff just fell off the truck and made its way to my garage. Be the average U.S. worker. If nobody's looking, I'm gonna sit down. Be that, and you will get replaced by a robot. You won't be bragging. I guarantee you that. All pimps and middlemen will be eliminated first in this process. Before employees or anything, there'll be this thing. That means if you're a person that makes their living off loading up a bunch of farm workers and taking them to the farm, and you don't really do anything, when those farm workers get replaced by these robot tractors, you're going to be out of business like the 8-track tape, the VHS, and the cassette. Serve a useful purpose. And here's the last clue. You just have to annoy the noise. Like, man, it's the beginning of, it's spring. And the grass is popping up like every 2 days. So, you have to understand that. Well, sorry the vampires robbed you of that last important note. And it was a humdinger. You would have loved it. Chalk it up to those that are around me right now. No, forget it. I can't remember. They got me. Who? I'm at 1527 8th Street in Merced, California, USA, across from Frederick Douglass Park. My neighbors. The vampires, man. Tired of it, too. I wouldn't mention it in an international note. So wherever I move, you're a vampire, you come near me, I'ma stake your butt. It's like a greedy dog, you can't resist the temptation to bite me on my neck. If it didn't mess with my head and cause temporary memory loss, I probably wouldn't mind. I'm on this device feeding the very thing that these stupid idiots came and tried to steal out my head and cause me mental problems right now. How stupid is that? Man, death to all vampires. Off with your head. There's been a message from the Self-Preservation Society. Save yourself. Sigh. S-Y. What do I mean about stake 'em? You're so greedy. A dog is so greedy. You could put some poison in the middle of a hamburger or some hamburger meat and he'll eat it and die. Set 'em up. Wish you had my skills. I can feed them some information that will run them insane, make them kill themselves. But there are things that you can feed them that will not be cool to their system, like garlic to a vampire. Just meditate on it for a while. But your defense, headphones, sunglasses. Okay? Cut off. You can't hear them talking to you. And they're looking at your eyes to see if you can see them, but they can't see your eyes with the sunglasses. They're scared of you and what you're really thinking. Vampires run from those things like a cross. If you got a phone in your hand and you point it at a vampire, they'll mistake it for food and attention. Okay? But if you got on headphones and sunglasses and you're talking on that device, you will scare them away. Keep turning and looking at them and then turning away like you're not listening to them. Then turn back like you're talking to them about them on that phone. Watch them run. That's your garlic. That's your silver bullet. That's your cross. That's the stake through the heart.